This is a story that is very jarring, disturbing, and effing infuriating. This young man, Coco John, had his life irrevocably affected by his neighbors who deleted his mother right in front of him at the fresh young age of 13 years old. I'll try my best to recap the story. I might have some mistakes, some errors, but man, this was heartfelt. I actually came across it from this big YouTuber, some Chinese American young girl, some young lady, posted the story. I listened to it in its entirety. It moved me. Um, my eyes were tear filled just listening to it, reading it, watching it. It's such a crime that this young man and his family couldn't get justice. I know that it's the Communist Republic, China. They believe on clamping down and running people's lives, and the government is very involved in not letting people have free will and such. Yeah, but to have a corrupt system in place that people can just pay off justice, and then it's like you react shocked when a child touches the stove, but you left the stove on, no barriers in place, no protections in place, and yet you scold the child. He grew up empty, lacking, wanting for something that was so basic, common human courtesy, decency, that he was denied, and yet he turned into this monster that revenge deleted 3 people of the opposing family, the Wang family. They can suck my wang. Hey, it makes you feel fucking sick listening to this. But anyways, let's start and try document it from the beginning. So, Coco's family, the Zhang family, they live next to the Wangs, who are kind of well off. Speaking in comparison to the Zhang family, who didn't have that much. They consisted of a father, a mother, a daughter, Coco's sister, and Coco himself. And the Wangs had 3 boys, and a father and a mother, and they never got along. And I think there were 2 farming families, and I think one got kind of like some benefits and the other didn't. Like basically, I think the government being unjust and favoring one family over the other. I think at the time they had some level of influence, and money is everything. They live in the countryside; it wasn't a well-known area, but they go back and forth, some days, and have like disagreements. And Mrs. Zhang, she's vocal. She doesn't hold back. She doesn't bite her tongue. And yeah, you can say that maybe that's why things became contentious. But nobody deserves to be disrespected. Because the one thing, you don't have to like me, but you're gonna treat me with respect. And then so the sons, they grew up in this household where their parents don't show deference to people, don't respect people, don't show common decency, and they grew up in that toxic environment, and they're spoiled as well, and they show disrespect. So they're walking by just going on excursions and such, they get disrespected, and they have this altercation one day where they're passing by the sister and brother, Coco and his sister in tow with their mother, and the John family says that she got in an argument with the second brother, and he's about 20 years old or so. She allegedly spits on him, or spits near him, and then he says something back to her, calls her basically a bee and whatever, but has contentious words for her, and then she allegedly spits on him this time. So they get into fisticuffs, and he's they're fighting, but she's supposedly a grown woman fighting a young man. He's seen as a kid. No, he's not a kid. He's 20 years old. He's fully formed and being able to know right from wrong at the very least. But yeah, they get into it. You know, that kid grabs a bat and he hits her, and she stops moving. But yeah, I mean, you're fighting and such, and like, you would think that someone would come along and say, break this up. You know, as far as the parents, they're, you know, just not taking any accountability. And allegedly, it was supposed to be like, you know, she started it, but she didn't even do any of that. You know, it was him grabbing her, and like, you know, he's a man, she's a woman. He kind of ragdolling her, and I think she hit him, you know, or something like that. But you know, none of this warranted a freaking death sentence for you know, someone to be judge, jury, and executioner. And you know, he swings and he hits her. She's not moving. Like, and then the Zhang family panics. You know, the mother, father, like, okay, well, oh, damn, they're just silent. And the father's yelling like, hey man, bring it, you know, get some ambulance or something. They're like, no, it would be expensive, and then they had to call one over from like the next village over, because I mean, it's not, you know, a main town, a main city, or whatnot. And you know, he runs and it goes to get help, because, you know, I think comes into contact with the mayor, but you know, someone to, you know, get help, and you know, kind of forces the John, okay, well, we'll call ambulance or whatever. And then, you know, she's pronounced deceased at, you know, on the scene, I think. And it's just like, this happened in front of Coco. Like, the boy witnessed his mom's murder. Like, he doesn't just know who did it. He knows the perpetrator intimately. And then they try to pass it off, you know, as the younger brother did it, so that, you know, because he was underage, he was under the age of 18, so that he could, you know, get less serious charges. So you're a little bitch passing off charges to you know, let your brother take the rap for you, not even being a man and taking the charges, and then your parents are, you know, feeding you, you know, this line of this course of action. So they're dishonest and they're liars, and you know, they're pieces of shit. Like, I mean, like, yeah, like if the people who made you aren't gonna hold you accountable, and then you know, I mean, there's something really wrong with this picture. So I mean, like, they go on to, like, I mean, like, Coco's family. I mean, they obviously, you know, they have to, you know, to bury their mother now, and things like that. You know, costs rack up, you know, with, you know, funeral. They, you know, try to sue, them, you know, to get the Wangs to pay for it. Wangs scoff. They're like, we're not. Why should we have to do that? You know, she started like this, that, and the third. It's your fucking fault. Like, you offed somebody. It's not like this was an accident, like, you know, driving accident, or just, you know, a cart came. You hit the fucking lady. She didn't just hit her head out of nowhere. Like, take fucking accountability. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating. And so basically, Coco, and their family, they get $1,500 or so from them, you know, which is like nothing. Nothing close to like the amount they need. It was, you know, pennies. In a wrongful death suit, I think they were asking for like 40,000, equivalent of like 40,000. They get like 1,500, which didn't even cover, like, you know, what they needed to bury her. And then, you know, he's expected to, like, you know, to go on about his life and to move on. But so losing somebody is already traumatic enough. You lost them in such a manner, like someone took their life from them. So Coco's like, he's irrevocably changed. He goes on to join the army. His sister goes on to get married. His dad, you know, was basically like a widower now. And, you know, he builds, you know, the second house on the floor to, you know, pass on to his son, because he traditionally pass things on to the son, because he's the one that stays in the family, keeps the family name, and the daughter, she moved on, you know, to take someone else's name. So the second floor of the house, you know, he renovates it himself, working on it every day, you know, putting in a lot of manpower, hours and work for Coco's future success. And Coco goes into the army. He goes to his instructor and says, his commander says, "I want you to teach me how to get my revenge." This is a real life anime. Like dude's like Sasuke, but he really went through with it. And he's like, well, "Are you fucking crazy?" And so he tells him the story, and he just listens with an unjudging ear. And tells him, "Yeah, man. Oh man, he's touched. He's moved, of course." But he says, "This is not a good path for you to set yourself on." But Coco tells him like, "This is all I got, man. This is all that's fueling me." And it's just sad that he had to resort to such means when they could have just done the right thing, looked into it, investigated thoroughly, punished the right parties, and none of this would have can ever happen. Like, and then at first it starts with the family, accepting accountability. Like, you did this, you caused this. You can never make the situation right. No one's life can never come back. So just do the right thing. Let your kids get punished. And take the public shame. I mean, but I know public. Image is a lot, especially in East Asian countries. Image is everything. So they don't want to take that loss as well. So they go on to be successful. The Wangs, get very successful jobs. The oldest son, the second oldest is one of them goes into local government, becomes an official, and it's just like their lives are going on great. They have even more wealth than they did before. Like it wasn't a great amount. I think they may have been lower middle class, but now they're definitely in the middle or like normal or upper middle class. So they're doing well in life, and yet Coco's father, he has to walk past the killers every day. Sees a spot where his wife died every day. And Coco, when he comes back, I don't think he came back for New Year, like ever. I don't know, or very much, because his mom is buried in the mountains, and he can go there and visit, but just doesn't. Because why would you want to be back there in the first place? Like, so he, he gets out of the army, can't find a job, even though he served his fucking country. And it ain't like over here in the States where like I'm not, but even in Japan it's voluntary. I might be compulsory, but even if it's not compulsory, they work your ass over because they have like one of the toughest, and largest manpower numbers in the Chinese army, and he can't find a job. He's a guy who did the right thing in life. He doesn't find a romantic attachment because he stays away from it because he's like, I'm a damaged person. I don't want to go on and have a damaged family, damaged kids, and I can't even give my love to a woman like I should be able to, or take care of her. And that, I have much respect for that because there's some Pookies and Rays out here running around, having kids just willy nilly and not even caring about the future of their legacy. Because those kids, whether you like it or not, they are your legacy, and they're marked with that stamp of you being their father forever. And shout out to the women that allow shit. But he does responsible things. He's a responsible citizen, and yet the Wangs are here having all this success, even though they're criminals, even though they're degenerates, even though they're pieces of shit, murderers. They're getting away with it this whole fucking time, just winning in life. And that shit ain't right. That doesn't sit right with Coco. That causes, that contributes to his, deteriorating mental state. And so Coco, he plots it out at some point. He's been planning this, for probably most of his life. He's in his 30s. He's like, well, I'm gonna have my revenge. But yeah, so he finally does come home for one Chinese New Year, which takes place in February. So not be confused with New Year's for us, which is January. The New Year for them takes place in February, which is kind of close to it should be the original. Spring brings in the New Year, but anyways, that's besides the point. But he's watching next door to see how the Wangs are moving. Okay, only two sons came back. The first who got out of jail, and then the third. And the first, he got out of jail, and then life was cushy because he has connections, and connections are everything in life. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And he, gets set up by his brothers, to have a steady paying job, I think, a successful job. And it just doesn't sit right with Coco. It's like these people are rolling along with their lives, all hunky-dory, and I'm the one out here suffering. Nah, fam. Nah, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that. And this world shouldn't be like that as well. But we all know that we live in an unjust, corrupt world. It's king. But, so he plots it out. And one day, the one kids, I don't think they came home often as well. But like I said, the first and the third came home, and Coco was like, okay, it's time to put my plan in motion. So he catches them one day, like they were out, and he stalks them. He checks his bag. He got his knife on him. Make sure it's there. Double, triple checks. Make sure he's not gonna have any gaps in his plan. So he stalks them. They don't notice him. They're living cushy lives. They're their guard is down, relaxed, soft. He ends up getting to the youngest child first. The youngest, he's not a child. The youngest son does him in. The eldest panics. He's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Then he realizes who it is, and he runs. He tries to get away. Coco tracks him down, and he gets him. And he's like, John Coco, it's you." And I don't think Coco even said much, but he did him in too. And he brutally murdered these guys. Do I care about that? Fuck no. They had it coming. They deserve it. Because the thing is, about this case, which just disturbs me, they could have apologized this whole time. Didn't offer any sense of penance. No conscience. And we're just going about their lives, like I said, nothing. It's almost like it didn't happen in their world. They were the wrong parties. What kind of professional victimhood are you? So I feel nothing from the deaths. Nothing. But so he does them in, and brutally so. Slits throats, multiple stab wounds. And finally, he goes to the house. And the second is in there, so it's it's a shame. The one who really deserves it, the one who put the bat to the mother. But the father's there. And, he goes in. The mother doesn't see so well. She is very, has poor eyesight. He walks up to the father, makes sure he knows who it is, does him in. And the wife, she can hear what's going on, but she doesn't know what's going on because she can't see very well. And she's like, you what have you done? You did to my husband. Cool, whatever. Coco just tells her, basically, not gonna harm you, your lady. Cool. So he does in the father, he does in the third son, and does in the first son. Gets them all. And then, so, this is, brutal, obviously. And the police are looking for him. He doesn't go into hiding, but he actually went to see the fireworks. Hey, some last freedoms. Because he wasn't trying to hide from this. He wasn't trying to run. He could have. Nope. Turned himself in later. But I think in a couple of days. He wanted to actually talk with his father, but there's so much going around. People, there's so much hubbub being made up in the village about what he did, that he didn't want to involve him any further. So he went on to just, like I said, just float about. Really, he slept on the streets and just enjoyed seeing the fireworks because he knew this was, of course, going to be the last time he saw him. And village was talking, rumors running rampant. And finally he turns himself in, and the trial just captures the nation. Because a lot of people were hearing about it, they were shocked, of course, but then hearing about the circumstances, people didn't feel bad for the Wongs. They felt bad for Coco. Public trial, very quick. The prosecution tried to make him out to be like, some revenge. Not revenge. They tried to say his mental state would maybe. He could have been compromised or whatever to try to make him out to be somebody crazy. Like, no, I'm very sane. I planned this out. I wanted revenge. These people weren't punished. I wanted to make sure that they suffered. I wanted to make sure that my mother, I could go back to my mom and say, "Hey, I got revenge for for you, for what was done to you." And because he went out into the mountains as well, to talk, to his mom, and just said, "Hey, mom, I did it." And the anxiety he had been feeling up until then, the stresses, the worries, all that bad juju, gone. And it's no wonder the scum, for the most part, were taken out, except for the mother and the second son. So, he tried, because people were like, "Why didn't you just move on with your life?" What judge was like, why, prosecution was like, well, you could have just done this. He said, "I couldn't. When I closed my eyes, all I could see was my mom getting killed." Like, no normal human being would be able to move on, just compartmentalize and pack up their life and just move on like nothing happened. Especially men. Especially with a loved one. So like I said, the trial was swift, and they ruled to have him executed. They went with some appeals. His dad was actually trying to raise up money to get him an insanity plea, get some better counsel that would give him a psyche valve that basically said he was unfit, to undergo the death penalty. But Coco, swear it off. He actually got angry at the courts, telling him how he felt. It's like, no, I'm angry. I was angry, and I just wanted to, get revenge on these people, and that's it. There's no insanity plea. There's no me losing my rationale. I was a very sound mind when I did these things. So, he garnered sympathy from around the world, as well as from the majority of the Chinese. They were protesting. They were livid that he was being off. Some people call him a hero. Majority of people call him a hero. Some people were neutral and like, well, I get it, but he's gonna, pay the price for this, basically. And then some people were saying like, oh, well, the Wangs were like, they didn't start to lose their life. Nigga, please, fuck them Wangs. Niggas got what they had coming. I mean, I can't even say that on YouTube. But nobody with a conscience feels bad for these motherfuckers. So I mean, they went ahead and went through with it, and Coco Zhang was executed by his country. But they betrayed him. They betrayed his legacy, his family's legacy, the Zhang's family legacy. They betrayed the trust of the people. They dishonored themselves and made a mockery of justice. Someone should never have to take justice into their own hands and go out and do something like this. Do I fully 100% condone it? No. Because by law, it is wrong. Because if we worked on this samsara cycle of revenge killings, basically you see what is modern day Chirac, which is, Chicago, gangland. That being said, it's on the law authorities to punish the parties that are, held responsible for these type of things, and for the system to abjectly fail the Zhangs. In this case, gave birth to this young man doing what he did. And then the second son comes out to say like, oh well, it's gonna end here, but he was wrong in what he did, and he makes himself out to be the victim. GTFOH, fully 100%. How dare you piece of shit? try to grandstand on this. Like, it's ridiculous. So, like I said, this case just touched me deeply because I will forever remember the name Coco John, because he's a young man who deserved to have the lineage, deserved to have a family someday, deserved to actually be, if he never went out a path that led him to, internet fame or something like that, live in anonymity. I should never have known his name. Now I do. I don't regret it, but I regret that his country led him to this. The Wangs, though, I'm glad they got everything that came coming to them. But man, I hope to one day go there and pay my respects someday. And I hope that Mr. Zhang is still alive, so I can shake his hand, give him a hug, and tell him that, man, his son will forever be remembered.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you
Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.